In any relationship, one of the worst things you can develop is an identity as a victim. Interestingly, both parties in a relationship often see themselves as being victimized by the other, which leads to a series of almost predictable chain events. In this clip, Dr. Ruth Buczynski interviews Dr. Stosny about the reasons a person can develop a victim identity and why it's so detrimental to a love relationship.
I'm Dr. Ruth Buczynski, a licensed psychologist from the state of Connecticut and the president of the National Institute for the Clinical Application of Behavioral Medicine. Our guest today is Dr. Stosny. He's a therapist from Washington, D.C., and he's the author of Love Without Hurt: Turn Your Resentful, Angry, or Emotionally Abusive Relationship into a Compassionate, Loving One. One of the things that you've said in your book is that one of the worst things you can do for your soul is become a resentful, angry, or abusive partner. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, chronic resentment makes you reactive to your environment, so that you're hardly ever proactive, just reacting to what other people are doing. It's a perception of unfairness. You're not getting expected help, appreciation, consideration, praise, reward, or affection, or you're being unfairly burdened or treated unfairly. The problem is that's how you perceive yourself. Other people are going to perceive you as being kind of mean and unfriendly. You're going to be expecting compensation for being treated unfairly, and you're going to come off as entitled to other people. So whenever you're resentful, you're going to get a negative response from someone else.
You also said that the worst thing you can develop in a love relationship is an identity as a victim. It almost seems like that goes hand in hand. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, that's one of the cruel ironies of being in a hurtful or abusive relationship. You may be victimized, but if you develop an identity as a victim, that's what keeps people trapped in abusive relationships, because you're identifying with how you were treated, you're identifying with damage that might be done to you, you're identifying with your weakest points. And to recover and to grow and develop, you have to identify with your resilience, with your strength, with your ability to heal and to grow. And victim identity always will have revenge motives with it. In fact, I've never met an abuser. I've dealt with over 6,000 court-ordered abusive people. I've never met one who didn't feel like a victim. Criminals tend to feel like victims. Feeling like a victim justifies any kind of behavior. So if you have a victim identity, you're probably more victimizing than you realize. But whether or not that part of it is true, the most important thing is that you can't heal as long as you're identifying with being a victim. You have to choose between victim identity and healing, because you can't do both.
So even though the victim sees themselves as the wounded one, they're actually behaving in a way that is more grandiose and acting out more the narcissistic side.
Yeah. When I first started 25 years ago, almost that, it was very easy to tell the victims from the abusers just by how they present it, because they will both present themselves as victims, but a genuine victim will tend to be able to see the other perspective. In fact, they overdo that. They'll try to make excuses for the bad behavior. He had a bad childhood, or he's drinking too much, or they'll make too many excuses for it. When an abuser is describing being victimized, they're incapable of seeing the other person's perspective. They're completely narcissistic. The other person's just a demon out to get them. Now, that line is blurred in recent years as we've all developed a sense of entitlement.
So I want to get into, you talk a lot about walking on eggshells, and that's really the part, I think if I've got this right, of the recipient of the anger rather than the angry person?
Yeah, walking on eggshells is a way to try to, they both walk on eggshells, but it's far more damaging for the recipient of anger. Walking on eggshells is when you're trying to avoid some kind of punishing response from your partner. But the punishing response doesn't have to be an angry outburst or demeaning behavior or shouting or screaming or threats of violence. It can be just the silent treatment, cold shoulder, stonewalling, not speaking, not making eye contact. But the subtext of that is you're not worth my attention, and that's why it's so hurtful.
There's a lot more to learn. For more information, visit our blog at www.nicabm.com/nicabmblog or attend a free teleseminar at www.nicabm.com/teleseminar/2009. This December, NICABM will host its 21st International Psychology of Health, Immunity, and Disease Conference on the beautiful Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. Hundreds of practitioners will be coming from all over the United States and many parts of the world. Among the nearly 50 speakers, Dr. Stosny will be giving a masterclass on anger in relationships, choosing value over power, as well as a post-conference class on love without hurt. There will be several other sessions on related topics, including couple sexuality, finding the balance of intimacy and desire, mating in captivity, the paradox of intimacy and sexuality, healing sleep and dreams, an integrative approach, and finding sanctuary amidst illness, crisis and change, clearing a space. To see more information about the December conference and to sign up to attend and receive CEU credits, please visit www.nicabm.com/DECCON09.